Hello everyone and welcome to the Speculative Wildlife Research Center, where we reimagine creatures and monsters from all realms of fiction through the lens of speculative biology, the genre of science fiction that applies scientific principles and knowledge about biology, ecology, and evolution to creature design and world building. Today, we will be looking at Moukele Mbembe, the living sauropod dinosaur rumored to still roam the Earth. Why do I say rumored? Well, you see, Moukele Mbembe is a cryptid. For those who may not know, a cryptid is a creature that is rumored to exist, such as Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, proposed by cryptozoology through anecdotal evidence, but has not yet proven to exist through rigorous scientific evidence. So, does this amazing creature actually exist? No, or most likely not as reported. Most cryptids tend to be cases of misidentified fauna, sometimes intentionally, misinterpretations of local legends by outsiders, sometimes intentionally, and in many cases, straight up forgeries. The only dinosaurs still living in this day and age are birds, and the chances of such a big sauropod dinosaur living undetected in the modern world, even in the depths of the jungle, are close to zero. Still, the idea of such creatures living in our world is definitely a captivating one, and can be a lot of fun by itself. That's why, in this episode, we will be taking Moukele Mbembe and imagining what it would be like as a living, breathing animal. So, without further ado, let's get started. In the rivers of Cameroon and its neighboring areas, evolution has bred a giant from the humble soft-shelled turtles that inhabit its rivers. The mighty Trionyx gigacolumn, the Moukele Mbembe, rises from the murky waters. While being a giant is a costly lifestyle, needing a huge amount of food and space to function, its gigantic size has allowed the Moukele Mbembe to live almost undisturbed by predators, from its first day as a newborn calf to its last moments as a mighty elder of the jungle. The amount of food needed by these creatures to survive is easily provided by its rich habitat, and will constantly move through its territory in order to feed. The Moukele Mbembe can reach sizes of 15 meters long, most of it belonging to its massive neck and tail. This vertically flattened tail drags heavily along the ground whenever the Moukele Mbembe is on land. However, when in water, the tail's weight is easily supported and allows the giant turtle to wade through the rivers effortlessly. It is also, however, one of its mightiest weapons, as even lazily moving it around is enough to knock unconscious or even kill animals as big as a lion. It is perhaps because of this that the Moukele Mbembe leave the water tail first, as a way to quickly disperse any wildlife that may be in the way. Its webbed feet allow it to glide across the deep rivers as gently as an animal of its size is capable of, and their long claws help them gain traction in shallower waters. While they prefer to sleep in natural caves, they will sometimes use their claws to dig shallow shelters of their own, if competition for caves is too high. Being a crepuscular animal, these enormous chelonians are most active during dawn and dusk, resting during the night and when the sun is at its hottest. Its characteristic long, flexible neck allows it to reach for algae and vegetation found underwater and across the river banks. Atop this neck, its small head rises easily above water, allowing it to breathe through its up-facing nostrils, perfectly adapted to protrude from the water surface. Unlike close species of soft-shelled turtle, the Moukele Mbembe is strictly a herbivore, and spends most of its waking time either placidly feeding on vegetation or moving in search of better feeding grounds. Its long claws help it dig in search of food, both through the mud at the river bottom and in the soft soil by the riverside. When needed, they can even rise on their hind limbs in order to reach fruit or leaves found atop trees. However, the amount of effort such a thing needs means they rarely ever do it, preferring instead to wait for such treats to drop from the trees. It is rather fortunate that that is the case, as the Mokele-mbembe's weight, as well as its relatively flat body shape, mean the impact of its weight against the water causes a huge water displacement, sometimes even seemingly changing the course of the river for a few seconds. The effects of this phenomenon on local fauna can be devastating, causing entire schools of fish to be beached. The Mokele-mbembe is a mostly solitary animal, but will tolerate the presence of other members of its species if food and space are abundant enough. Mating couples, which can last for 1 or 2 weeks, will reject the presence of others until the couple has been dissolved, and pregnant females or mothers caring for their young will group together for protection until the calf is old enough and big enough to become independent, usually around 6 months old. Seeing big groups of Mokele-mbembe together shows extreme variation between individuals. Most of these variations have to do not only with age, but also with the fact that Mokele-mbembe show a significant degree of sexual dimorphism, which is mostly accentuated as they approach maturity. To see the beginning of this cycle, we must first go to the Likuala region, where the Mokele-mbembe calves are born. These turtles are ovoviviparous, meaning that the egg develops and is hatched entirely within the mother. The newborn calves are a pale gray color, barely distinguishable from each other. Mighty as the young Mokele-mbembe are, sometimes as big as an adult hippopotamus, they can fall prey to groups of crocodiles if the mother becomes distracted. As they migrate north towards Cameroon, males and females become easier to differentiate from one another. The first telltale sign is size, as females quickly gain an advantage that will be maintained all throughout their lives, becoming noticeably bigger in a matter of weeks. Only as they begin approaching their final destination in Cameroon does their second main difference become clear. Males, little by little, start changing color into a deep shade of brown. As they approach mating season, mature males undergo a transformation meant to show their availability. Their smooth heads, necks, and backs start growing scutes, bone-covered, shield-shaped scales, sometimes growing enough to look like crests or horns. The more visible areas of their skin turn a bright red, visible from hundreds of meters, and the underside of the throat will develop an engorged vocal sac, which helps greatly amplify their mating calls. Despite being able to walk on land, the Mokele-mbembe prefer to spend most of their time in the water. While it was once believed they did this to support their massive weight, it is now understood it is done mostly due to safety reasons, as few predators would dare attack an adult Mokele-mbembe in the water. Whenever they leave the water in order to feed on leaves and fruit farther away, they mostly rely on their size for intimidation. While this tactic works for most predators, large enough groups of hunters, human or otherwise, might still be a threat to the Mokele-mbembe. In these cases, the turtle prefers to return to the waters, a cunning way to control the battlefield should the encounter turn violent. If predators press the attack, Following their gigantic quarry into the waters, they will soon find themselves at the mercy of these creatures. The Mokele-mbembe will lash its tail, stomp and bite at anything it can reach, and any single one of these would be enough to kill even the biggest predator around. It will only cease after it is convinced the threat has been eliminated, either by it being scared off or having been trampled to death. Sometimes, not even running away will be enough, as expecting females and mothers may chase would-be predators even into land. And that's it for a speculative biology look into the Mokele-mbembe. This one was really interesting to make, as I wanted to think of the creature not in terms of what it is meant to be according to cryptozoology, but in terms of the way it is described. As I mentioned at the beginning, the chances of modern-day non-avian dinosaurs existing are pretty much zero, and the descriptions of the Mokele-mbembe are based on outdated depictions of sauropod dinosaurs, rather than what modern knowledge shows us about these creatures. Things such as the flexible neck, the dragging tail, and the partially aquatic living of the Mokele-mbembe are reflective of what we used to believe about dinosaurs, while newer evidence tells us that they were dry land animals, with stiff necks and tails that were kept high off the ground. While creating this version of the Mokele-mbembe, making it too close to a scientifically accurate dinosaur would have made it too different to the cryptid, but using a different creature as its basis, one already present in the local fauna, allowed me to balance both tales and science into something I am pretty satisfied with, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. If there's any type of creature you would like me to give the speculative biology treatment in the show, please sound off in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time on the Speculative Wildlife Research Center.